Let's go. We're live. The
We are
reflection.
live.
Man, that intro gets me going. Ooh,
I know
it's
it
so
does.
good.
I know it
So
does. It's a
good.
good one.
It's evolving. It's evolving. I love it. Anyways, welcome to the reflection, guys. Today, we have a very, very, very good topic to talk about. Is white supremacy. But before we get into that, I just want to talk about real quick with John here, just the last week of what's been going on. Ooh, look at that! Look at that! Let's go, Chris. Let's go. Hey, Mimi, how you doing? How are you? Yeah. So the last week, man, like it's been crazy, bro. It's been real crazy.
Insane.
Insane.
So much to process, man. Like so many memories, so many discussions we had. You know, it was really interesting talking to a lot of the people that we've had only conversations over Facebook. You know, the majority of our interaction has been online or whatever, and having all the people down this week and being able to interact with them face to face, it was pretty interesting. Chris was one of those guys. I can tell you this much. I did not realize that Idaho is basically little Texas. Even though it's interesting. My mother, she's heard that nickname a lot growing up, Little Texas, from people that are out of state.
Really?
And I didn't think it was a thing until Chris straight up was like, bro, this place is like Little Texas, man.
I know. You know, one of my highlights, and actually, let me just point out real quick. I was able to meet Billy Joe. I was able to meet. Wow, that was really weird. Seeing you like knock on something. It literally looked like you were knocking on that wall.
I was.
Oh, okay. I got to meet Billy Joe. I got to meet Chris and his girlfriend Shania. I got to meet Mike, of course. Got some really, really awesome pictures from Mike. Got to meet Billy Joe's husband, John. He's a riot. If you haven't met that man, whoa, that guy is amazing. But the highlight for me, I'm going to say this week was probably making those pancakes for Chris, man. I got to talk about it. Hey, Nicole, what's up?
I got to admit, those were some pretty damn good pancakes. Okay, so hey, Toby. Hi, Nicole. I can assure you that actually, you know what? Let's pull a member of our audience in real quick and see what they thought about the pancakes. Mike, could you come over here into my entertainment room?
What's up, Mike?
Hi, everybody. Mike, what did you think of Beats's famous fluffy pancakes that he made at his house the other day for us?
They were pretty bomb.
I think they were all pretty bomb.
I think that Facebook user is definitely Shania, the one who doesn't even like bread.
wasn't she eating it without any syrup?
No syrup. No syrup at all.
Right now, it was pretty life-changing. I can tell you that. I'm more of usually I like a crispy flapjack. You know, I like to have a little bit of puff to it, but those brought me to this land of delicious cloud-like, fluffy. Yeah, you win. You make grandma pancakes, bro.
Savage.
Savage AF.
The biggest thing I would say is, aside from everything else that we talk about on the show on Breathe America, being able to just like, I guess you could say, commune with other people from, like, I got friends in Texas now, man. You know what I mean? I absolutely have a reason to go to Texas. You know what I mean? I absolutely have a reason to go to upstate New York now. So, oh my God, Toby, put that up. Put that up. You know, making statements like that, Toby, will make you lose an eye.
It's an ancient Eskimo recipe, man.
Ancient Eskimo recipe, man. That's what it is. Being able to hang out with people and be hospitable to somebody who's never been to Idaho and them saying they had a great time, Chris and Shania. That was pretty dope.
Well, they're pretty dope people, to be honest. I gotta say, one of the things that I really noticed about it, which was funny, was the same thing that he noticed, which is when Chris came down, he just fit right in, man. Like he just slid in, just boom, like. Oh wait, no, like.
Okay, now we're gonna fly away. Okay, I'm done.
I noticed you didn't do your dance this morning with the intro. You weren't doing the.
It's because, okay, so what happened, like the intro, the beginning, I'm just like, yeah, let's go. And then it's like, slow down, breathe America. Hey! I don't know who's doing that, but let's go. Oh, man, that was great. That was perfect. Yeah, let's get into it, man. Let's argue, bro. White supremacy.
Let's argue.
Yeah.
Listen. The arguing is not the point, Beats. The getting to understanding, getting to the point where we actually agree on things.
But that's my favorite part of the show.
I think that's everything. To be honest. All right. Okay. So today we wanted to essentially, last time we were on here, we were talking about white privilege, and we had not quite come to full agreement on everything, except for Beats had shifted his position. He was finding white privilege a little bit harder to defend. Mm-hmm. I feel really what wraps it up is that white privilege is definitely, in my opinion, not as deep-seated and prevalent as many of the members on the left state it is, but it's certainly not a non-issue like the right try to treat it. Like bootstrapping isn't always the answer. You know what I mean? Sometimes there is, especially when we see in certain areas, certain counties, certain cities or whatever, where these trends go on, there is a problem. But I really do think a lot of it comes back down to socioeconomics. It comes down to our class. It comes down to how much money we got in the bankroll and what we look like, what we're dressed like. Like we were talking about the other day, people will react a lot differently to a black man in a suit than they will to a black man in a pair of, baggy ass basketball shorts, and a wife beater. And I mean, that's true for me too. If I go in a nice t-shirt and some jeans that fit, all right, no problem. I'm rocking like my ripped up BDUs and I got chains and spikes coming off of me. Well, I'm definitely a criminal.
No. That outfit is a white supremacist outfit. Let me just tell you right there.
All right. No. Why?
I love doing that to you, John. I love it. The cringe moments.
Let me explain something to you. Nothing about the metal lifestyle is hate-filled at all. Nothing about the punk rock lifestyle is hate-filled at all. Nothing about the way anybody dresses typically, unless they're intentionally putting on, say, like, I don't know, a white hood. And
I agree. But
a Nazi uniform or something. Other than that,
with the narrative of what people think, though, like, I mean, my clothing, I'm fat, so my clothes are baggy. You know what I mean? I can be mistaken. Hear me out. I can be mistaken for wearing baggy clothes because I have bigger clothes. I like to be comfortable. You know what I mean? Or I wear sweats a lot. That's kind of a thing that is quote unquote a profile. You know what I mean when it comes to clothing. But I'm not anything like any of those people, but I still get mistaken for it.
Whoa. What do you mean, those people?
Criminals, not color.
Okay. All right. I just want to make sure. I have to check your white privilege every once in a while because we've gentrified you.
There's my cringe moment.
You're having a heart attack.
Oh, John, if we were not 20 miles apart right now, I'd have you in a headlock for that one.
You let me tell you something. You wield the whiteness of your personality. I feel like you fully recognize when you're like, oh, hey, I'm not going to have an issue because I fit right into this culture, and I've seen it. I've
Well,
seen you.
I mean, I use it
I've
to my
seen you wade into
advantage.
a crowd of people waving Confederate flags on their
across my head.
profiles and their Facebooks and stuff too, as well.
Mm-hmm.
And you whip out Sally and start talking about some Second Amendment jazz, and suddenly everything's all groovy. Like it interests me because you become more whiter around white people and you become blacker around black people.
I got a very specific word for it. I made it up. It's not even a real word. It's called being incognito.
What?
Yep.
What is that?
So once I realized, coming to Idaho made me realize that I blend into situations very well. And that was by walking into a Caldwell Walmart and literally Walmart. I hate saying Walmart. Walmart. Walking into a Caldwell Walmart and everybody starts speaking Spanish to me. You know what I mean? Like, I was like, do I really look that Hispanic? You know what I mean? So I came up with that word, being incognito, and I blend in. You know what I mean? Into situations. So that way, I guess you could say it's a way of protection. It's like a skill. You know what I mean? So that way I don't stick out like that sore thumb. You know what I mean? Like, I can't act the way I act around you, around my brothers, because I'll stick out like, and their people, because I'll stick out like a sore thumb. What's up, Tammy? You know what I'm saying? Like, and if I act super black around white people, then I stick out like a sore thumb and people start to judge me. Either way, bro. So I blend in.
Is it like so is it just like a when in Rome type of situation? Like you just tailor your personality a little bit and you're
I observe a lot, bro. I as much as I'm a very, very loud, active, extroverted person. We all know that.
You are. Yes.
But while I'm doing that, I'm literally scanning the room. And that's not even from
paranoid. Sounds a little paranoid. I'm not gonna lie.
It's literally from being paranoid, from being around cops, being in bad situations. I literally look at everything and I pick things apart. Sometimes I actually pick things apart too much. You know what I mean? Like I dig into it too much, and it gets me in trouble sometimes. But especially with my best friend, her name's Christine. She knows who she is.
All right. So I got to ask you, Beats, just because we brought it up.
Mm-hmm.
And since it's part of the show's topic tonight, in your mind, what is a white supremacist and what is white supremacy?
White supremacy is, for one, something that I've always dealt with just by being black. It always, like, let me just touch on that real quick before I get super deep in it. I don't think that white people really realize the white supremacy problem because they don't have to deal with it if they don't want to. You know what I mean? They could turn a blind eye. I can't. It comes at me in all sorts of different directions, and it took me a very long time to learn to deal with it. I think white supremacy is my take on it is ignorance. It is one race saying that they're better than everybody just because of the color of their skin, when the reason that the color of their skin is based on region and climate. You know what I mean? That it literally is science. Black people have more melanin in their skin to block the sun. White people don't, because they live in a colder climate. They don't live in a colder climate. Their lineage comes from a colder climate. And I know you're trying so hard to let me talk right now.
Is that obvious?
But I mean, I don't believe that it always started off like that. You know what I mean? I don't think that. I mean, when you look at science and how we think about our world and how it developed into what it is now and how everything started. We all started in one spot. You know what I mean? That climate was in one spot. So, but we're never going to know unless somebody really gets a DeLorean and a flux capacitor to work together, like for real, for real. You know, we're never going to know. We have to go based off of what we find in history and science and trying to put the pieces of the puzzle together. But if you look at it logically, at one point in time, we were all one color, bro, because we were all grouped in one area. You know what I mean? It was a big, vast, massive area, but it was in one spot. You know what I'm saying? That the seasons, when you think about it, how our seasons work now, they couldn't have changed that much when you have everything centrally located. You know what I mean? That's just logic. So white supremacy to me is just ignorance, bro. It's just years and years and years and years and decades and centuries of ignorance. That's my take on it. I don't think
something that's pretty prevalent.
I don't think it's as prevalent as it has been. I think it's toned down quite a bit. Like like when you compare 1960 to 2020, it's a way different story. And even before that, you know, the 30s, 40s, and 50s, it's a way different story with white supremacy than it is today. You know what I mean? I think that, my people of color, I think that sometimes it's taken way out of proportion. I think that that people who really are super duper activists against white supremacy take a lot of stuff that happened from, I could say, yes, it's your ancestors, but it wasn't you. You know what I mean? And I'm the type of person that you own up for what you got and what you do and what you make of yourself. You know what I mean? That's my personal opinion. I think it's a problem. I think it's an issue that is being dealt with, but not as closely as I think it should be. And I actually have a follow-up question for you now. Being that, as I just described white supremacy in my mind, I want to hear you describe black supremacy and what that is, or if it even exists.
Okay, first off,
you're welcome.
That's ridiculous, but I'll give it a shot. Look, any kind of supremacy, what we're talking about is people that have an ideology that expresses that their race is better than other races. So if we're talking about white supremacy, we're talking about someone who values white-skinned people, you know, as part of their ideology. So there's a difference to me between white supremacy and a white person that's racist.
Okay.
So white supremacy is an actual, it's an ideology. It's the reason it triggers that signal in your brain when you hear white supremacy. Like when you hear racism and when you hear white supremacy, you get two different signals in your brain, because white supremacy is the Ku Klux Klan, right? White supremacy is Nazis marching down the street. You know, white supremacy is the most horrific things you can think of. You know, it's people with torches. So when I hear white supremacist, I don't think, oh, that's a person with a great deal of white privilege. You know, I don't think, oh, because he dropped an N-word once that he's white supremacist. He may be a racist asshole, but that doesn't mean he's a white supremacist. A white supremacist is someone who actively fights for supremacy. And so I think that a lot of some of the fringe groups on the right, especially the constitutionalist crowd, gets branded with that terminology a lot, mainly because that makes racism part of their actual ideology. And if racism is part of their active ideology, then it's very easy to portray these people standing around a book somewhere that says, we shall always fight for the white race, and don't get me wrong. There's people out there there's groups out there that are white supremacy groups. Aryan nations, those are a white supremacy group. KKK, white supremacists. Anybody who affiliates as neo-Nazis.
What's the difference between a supremacist and a racist, bro? I don't see it.
A racist just hates you because you're black, Beats. A white supremacist believes that you are actually genetically inferior. You're half of a person. You're someone who shouldn't even be here.
So, okay, all right, let's throw this in there.
Well, here's the deal. A racist, it's almost in a way it's a verb.
So it's an action. It's an action to the adjective.
If I'm a racist, it's because I consistently do racist things.
But are you just racist? Is a racist just racist to one person, one kind, or are they just racist to everybody?
Well, it depends. Racism it's targeting for you for your race. So it's specific, it's personal, it's something that's about you that you can't change, that's in your DNA. So when we look at a difference between like someone who's just a white racist person, they can be just this much racist. They can be like, look, I don't hate black people, okay? I just don't like hanging around them. That's not a white supremacist. That's a racist. Now, a white supremacist would be like, I don't hate black people. I just want them eradicated from the earth.
Okay, I see where you're going. I get that. But how is that?
It's a big distinction because who's lumped in white supremacists?
What color is this person saying? I don't want to hang around black people. Are they white, black, Asian?
What are they? Both ways. Let's do white both ways.
Just do white. Just to keep it simple. Okay, that makes sense. Now let's throw in a quick caveat. What about an Asian person saying the same thing? I don't want to hang around black people because I don't like hanging around black people. Does that make them a white supremacist racist?
No, it makes them racist. Unless they go, hey, I think we should eliminate all black people, or I think that Asians in general, or white people, or whatever else is the supreme race, and that their race makes them better genetically.
Okay. That's
so the reason I want to say that, why is it so important to make that distinction? Because white supremacy also incorporates Nazism, also incorporates the Klan. We know that the KKK literally lynched black Americans because of the color of their skin, killed them, beat them. We understand that these people are the most hated people in the world. So you're going to lump every ignorant, casual racist in with Hitler? You're never going to get any progress there.
Well, because it's now we're talking about straight up genocide, right? Like that's what that is, dude.
That's
so white supremacy is genocide, is what you're saying. Pretty much.
What it is it's supremacy. So what it means is it's I'm at the top of the fucking ladder. Oh, pardon me. And these other races are lower than me.
Okay.
So don't get me wrong, they're both racists. And don't get me wrong, racism itself is deplorable. But by saying, that every single person that is racist is automatically a white supremacist, and saying that, there's a real problem in our country with white supremacy, and we're like, go and find them. Go and find the people that are actually standing out there saying, hey, I am superior because I'm a white person.
Okay.
I mean, there are people out there, but it ain't the majority.
Okay, all right, let's look at this argument from a completely unbiased way. Let's take white, black out of it, okay? If there's gonna be one, there has to be the other. You can't have the tomato without the tomato. You feel what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
So if there's white supremacy, then there definitely has to be black supremacy. Now,
hold up.
What?
Did you just say you can't have the tomato without the tomato?
I did.
That's not a real thing.
I just made it up right now.
That's not a real thing at all.
But hey, first of all, you went with it, John.
Almost.
You went with it. No, you did. You completed. Yeah, yeah. And I made a whole sentence after that. That means it's law now. But for real, seriously, you can't you can't have one without the other, because one is whether okay. So white supremacy has been a thing for centuries. Okay,
Sure.
okay. Now, what I feel like I'm seeing now, looking at it after knowing that we're going to talk about this last week, there is a black supremacy undertone, and I say undertone for one reason, bro, because I feel like that the black supremacy that has come up out of white supremacy is because of white supremacy. You're not going to sit there and get paws put on you and not eventually put a paw back. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I think it's more not. I don't want to say supremacy. I just think it's like maybe like black encouragement. I guess the tomato is the tomato.
Beats.
Do you see where I'm trying
Am
to
I a
go
white
here?
supremacist?
No, you would never be a white supremacist.
Was
Am
I
I
at any time a white
John,
supremacist?
am I a black supremacist?
Absolutely. Yeah, I don't know if the FBI is watching, but I sometimes fear for my life when I'm left alone with him.
Trying to swallow dry air here because I am flabbergasted.
I have seen all your posters that say Black Power. I'm scared.
Meanwhile, there's a hex and a metal band right there where my thumb is. Yeah.
All
I am
I'm
far
saying
from the
is
black supremacist, bro. There's no.
I've never met a black supremacist.
I don't think. Okay, I don't think
Besides
supremacy is the
you.
right word, but it's the right word to use for sake of argument right now. You know what I mean?
Oh, okay. So yeah, if there's a black person standing on a stage with a megaphone and he's screaming about the perfection of the black race and how we shouldn't interbreed and how we should stay apart and that this person that our race is the true race or something to that effect, I would classify that as black supremacy for sure.
It literally happened in Portland, bro. We
I
literally
was
heard
intentionally
that dude say that
describing
same
something
thing.
that we both saw.
Like, it literally happened. You saw it.
Yes, but I didn't put it in that context until you started thinking about it, and you actually pointed out that you're like, is he saying that we should just only have sex and marry black people? Is he saying that?
But see, look, but listen. Remember how he was saying it? He was saying it in such a roundabout way that it can be misconstrued as something completely different. And that's why I say undertone. Now, let's say if that was a white person up there doing it, having the same message, it would have been like, we don't need to mix our good white blood with any people of color and blah,
All right,
blah,
hold
blah.
up. I'm completely offended by your white person accent. What was that? That was the most racist shit I've ever seen in my life. You're like, I'm gonna be a white person.
It was
Yo, get out of here.
context,
I'm going to take my gun and my daughter. What the hell's the matter with you?
Bro, it's for context to make a point. You know what I mean? Because just shut your mouth, John. It's for context, okay? Air quotes. But oh my God, where are you finding these things? That was awesome. Do it again. Do it one more time. Ah! Oh my goodness.
Look, I do think that we finally got, guys, we finally hit that segment of the show where Beats does his favorite part of the show, which is playing the All right, why it beats Karen casting out your black privilege?
That did not just. Oh my goodness, bro. Oh man, that's hilarious. And no, how did I play the race card? What are you even talking about?
You want to see us get demonetized in real time?
How? Where are you finding these things? You've had too much time to play with StreamYard. Way too much time.
All right, listen. Let's get real for these 6 people. Let's make sure that we get up in each other's face for sure. Here's the deal. White supremacy, in my opinion, isn't a huge problem. Because white supremacy is a fringe shit. Not the majority of the people that are actually genuinely racist, either by ignorance or by some degree of ignorance that transforms into hatred. That is, even they aren't white supremacists. So, like, I believe that it's a smokescreen. I believe that a lot of the media focuses on the terminology white supremacist because what do you think? You think Hitler. You think Ku Klux Klan. You think lynchings. You know, you don't think somebody who's tweeted something racist once on his freaking Twitter. You know what I mean? Like your average run-of-the-mill asshole. Like you don't think that. You think, you know, you don't think immediately, oh my God, that person is Hitler. But that's where it comes from. Like that's where my issue with it is. And I see so many, like we just had this thing, and you know, I might not have all the information on this, but I've looked around. They just did this thing where like there was like 12 or 15 people or something, but they just got caught up in a plot to kidnap a governor. And they were gonna, you know, apparently overthrow the government, and they were all crazy psychos that were building bombs in their backyard, whatever else. So these people are obviously like basically actual homespun terrorists. So they were actually trying to take out the government. They were actually trying to do something that was, you know, what I cannot argue is terrorism. This is terrorism. Okay. They cited a couple of the examples. They were actually apparently targeting police officers. And they cited a couple of the examples. The reason they was one of them was the George Floyd's case was a justifiable reason for them to target police. I've seen a lot of coverage on this, and it just keeps saying white supremacists have been caught trying to overthrow the government and kill this governor. And why hasn't President Trump decried the white supremacists? And look, these are the same group of the white supremacists that he didn't decry when he should have decried them. And I've seen this jump many a times. And what's happening is all these different factions, groups, all these different ideologies, all these different types of people that one side considers undesirable, they start getting lumped in together. So pretty soon, anybody with a freaking an American flag in their yard is a racist. You know, pretty soon, everybody who talks about the Constitution, it's a dog whistle for their white supremacy, you know, far right groups or whatever.
It's got to be the stupidest shit I ever heard, man. Like, it's really got to be the dumbest shit I ever heard. And again, the show 6, I'm shifting, probably not more towards what you're saying. I agree in slightly in a way. I think supremacy in general is a problem. Sure. And the more we get into this, the more that we keep going, I'm starting to see that it really isn't about my skin or your skin or an Asian person's skin. You know what I mean? There's only one color that matters now, bro. Green. That's it. Little green goblins coming out of everywhere trying to get us.
You're such a dick.
Y'all understand if you look up the Alex Jones folk song.
That's just, come on. Come on, man. Anyways, God, you just threw me so off.
I know. I did it on purpose, if that makes you feel better.
Look, I think supremacy is a problem. I think seeing supremacy around every single dark corner and in every single table at America and every single thing is another problem. I think that a lot of people get really, really hung up on race because it has been such a problem in the past, and it still is a problem.
It's easy.
And don't get me wrong, it still is a problem. But when you start looking at a bigger and bigger picture, it's just a part of a much bigger problem. You know, and what we're doing is we're focusing on this one small faction here, and we're focusing on this other small faction. How many people have you been in a conversation with about white privilege beats that were white, that explained their hardships and their sorrows and their struggles that they've had, right? But does that make them turn around and then acknowledge yours? Or does that make them just defend their own position?
I have not once had anybody acknowledge it, except for one person, and that's Christine, my fiance. She's absolutely acknowledged it, and I think you don't acknowledge it from a story. You acknowledge it from living it. You acknowledge it from being in the middle of it. You know what I mean? And that's the only time that that it causes a problem. Bring that up, bro. Right there. I just the last one, Tammy's.
Tammy's.
Mm-hmm. When you give it all this attention, of course it is a problem. She's absolutely right. Light bulb moment. You know what I mean? Because I do this same concept with everyday life. If I give a problem too much attention, I'm gonna speak it into existence. Okay.
Self-fulfilling prophecy is what they call it.
You speak literally things into existence. So that's why you've heard this topic with me, that I don't give a hard R the power. I'll laugh in your face if you hard R me.
Well, see, first off, no hard R's.
No hard R's. But I'm trying to say, you know what I mean? The Tammy's point is absolutely true. You know, we are literally giving it the juice. You know what I mean?
I do agree. I remember watching a clip from, I think it was Morgan Freeman, and it was done, I don't know, probably 10 years back or whatever. And he was asking him, the reporter was asking him, you know, what do you think we can do to end racism? And Morgan Freeman said, stop talking about it.
Yeah.
He said, I think it's a thing because we continuously make it a thing. And it doesn't mean that we don't have this racial prejudice or whatever, but since we're so focused, I think it becomes almost a cultural taboo. Mm-hmm. And when it becomes a cultural taboo, people flock to it, right? Mm-hmm. Like, you know, if you're not supposed to laugh at funerals, suddenly everybody, you know, awkwardly laughs at funeral, right?
Mm-hmm. I see what you're saying. Yeah.
So I do think that's kind of where it is. So there's a certain degree to it, but let this not discount the fact that racial discrimination absolutely happens. And it happens in economic ways, but it also happens on like an individual basis. So like what we were talking about the other day, when we first started this gig, actually, it wasn't the other day, it was a while back, was when you're trying to determine whether or not a police encounter is racist, a lot of times we stop right at the point where they make the stop, right? And we go, okay, well, he said he had flag tags, or he said he had this, or he said he had that, or whatever else. So it's not racist that he got pulled over. And I mean, to a certain extent, I agree, that's not racist. How that interaction progresses in comparison to how it progresses with other people, with those same officers, that same police department, those same kind of traffic stops, that's where you can discover where it is. So, you know, how quick was this person to assume this person was a violent criminal? How quick was this person to assume he was lying? How quick, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But it never equals out between what the left is saying it is or what the right is saying it is. you know, as we hear this, I believe from our great wisdom guru, Patrick of Breathe America, the truth is somewhere in the middle, right? So, like, it's a possibility that it's both an issue and not as much of an issue as it's professed out to be. I still think it's a narrow focus, but running around and declaring everybody white supremacists just because they're racist white people, I think in a lot of ways it's detrimental, because it does that. It glorifies it. It turns it into even more of a social taboo. And then, I know five people, 5 white guys right now, and you probably do, Beats, too, that if we said, all white people are white supremacists, he'd be like, oh, I'm a white supremacist now? I'm a white supremacist? Well, yeah, I guess I'm a white supremacist. I'm a white supremacist. They would just own it, because they'd be like, screw you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, like, we create that counterculture by enforcing this culture.
Yeah, and the only way to break it, I think, is, what are we? We're Americans. What is America built on? Melting pot. Everybody love everybody. You know what I'm saying? As my best friend Adam would say, ELE. Everyone love everybody. We need to get back to that. And the only way to get back to that is recognizing the fact that we're all Americans, bro, and that we're all in it together. You know what I mean?
Right.
There was something I learned growing up that I always seen growing up in the Black community. It takes a village to raise a child, right? You know what I mean? We're all one big ass village, bro. And when we get back to that one big ass village type of way of living, then we won't have those problems. And then I personally think the other way that's going to have an issue in stopping that is the money, the greed. You know what I mean? Because money in these days is power. You know what I'm saying? So we all need to fight for the same thing, and we all need to fight to be one. You know what I mean? So
Great Patrick Whitler said, better off focusing on positive things that help build a positive future. And I agree. He's absolutely right. And, that's one thing I do like about Breathe America. I don't know if everybody watching this is a member of Breathe America or has liked and followed that page yet, but you definitely need to, because Patrick takes this kind of mindset right here, this focusing on positivity and trying to build on positive relationships, positive discussions, and positive outreach to the community. And he uses that to actually apply it to society. So, we find that we're applying the same methodology that we do on Breathe America to politics, to racial relations, to...
I'm doing it with work, bro.
With
literally
work.
With work. I wear these every day. Okay.
Oh, dude, I'm rocking them.
Be a little better today than you were yesterday. We did it with our intro, bro. Be a little bit better today than you were yesterday. We did it with, I do it with my kids. Be a little bit better today than you were yesterday. I teach them that aspect. And I've been teaching them that, I know Patrick brought this slogan into existence, but I've been teaching them that for years. But being able to say this to them, they get it. You know what I mean? And that's all we got to do, bro. That's all we got to do. It's just like pay it forward. Who did that? Well, the little kid in the movie, paying it forward. All we got to do, if we all started doing that, bro, I'm telling you, everybody will inadvertently get some pay it forward, bro.
Absolutely. Well, that's the key core of the dream, right? Mm-hmm. That's one thing that we love about Patrick, is he really made all these different connections all come together. He's kind of like the hub of so many different positive things that are going on and everything. Patrick, if you're still watching, I love you, buddy. And I am a steadfast, dedicated dreamer of the dream. And I can't wait to see what we were able to do with Breathe, man. I don't know if you guys can tell, but I'm wearing my Breathe gear here. So yeah, no, that's what it is. It really comes down to actually looking at um this is it right here, dude. Toby Smith. It's so easy, guys. Just love your neighbor. It's that simple. It is. It is.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, I will say this, man. We can't be complacent. Okay.
Yeah.
We're smart enough to know that, things like racism and sexism and stuff like that, you know, disparaging against the handicap or people with disabilities, it still happens. And we
And
still
are we
have to
perfect? Are we perfect? No, we're not, bro.
no,
We're not perfect. We're not going to be perfect every single day. There's not a single person on this face of this earth that is going to be perfect. You know what I mean? At all, period. Unless you're a robot. You know what I mean? And we're all going to make mistakes, man. You know what I mean? We're all going to choose to do something that wasn't probably the right thing to do or the right thing to say. But you only are who you are. You're the person who you are after you make the mistake. It's what you do after you make the mistake that makes you who you are. You know what I mean? And it's okay to mess up. You know what I mean? But if you mess up and you keep messing up and keep doing the same thing, then that's your fault. And that's people got to learn to fall on their sword. People got to learn, hey, I'm wrong. People got to learn to accept when they're wrong. People got to learn to move forward when they're wrong. You know what I mean? It is as easy as loving your neighbor, but then it gets deeper than that. You gotta take care of yourself. There's a video that my fiance showed me, probably about 4 years ago. It was a video of Will Smith. It was talking about how you control your happiness. You know what I mean? It's not on nobody else. It ain't nobody else's problem. It ain't nobody else's issue to make you happy. You shouldn't rely on your significant other to make you happy. You know what I mean? And that spoke volumes to me, bro. That actually helped me become a better person to myself. You know what I'm saying? And have more self-esteem and be able to navigate that. You know what I'm saying? So like you're in control of your own destiny. You have to want to make it there. But once you start to learn to control your own happiness, you can start to spread that happiness throughout wherever you're at. You know what I mean? Are you going to be perfect at it? Probably not. Are you going to be pretty good after a while and you keep trying? Absolutely. Absolutely. You're right. You're right.
yeah, I think pride is a huge part of it.
It
I
is.
know that, like, because sometimes being civil, sometimes realizing that you were wrong or trying to backtrack and things, little simple mechanisms like that aid to a better social status or social flow between you and people around you. Those things they're encountered by pride, and that's just at the smallest level, not to mention on the bigger sides of it. Even some people, that pride, just suggesting that there may be a different way to do things can be enough to trigger that pride.
It definitely does, man. I've been that person. You know what I mean? Like I didn't realize how much of an asshole I was until I forced myself to listen to other people tell me I'm an asshole and accept that they're saying that I'm an asshole. And even though I don't think I'm an asshole, run with it. You know what I mean? And the more you do it, the easier it is to come to terms with, okay, yeah, you're right. I did do that. You know what I mean? I did do this. I did mess up. I'm sorry. You know what I mean? The later part of that was the actual apology. That's a whole nother step. You know what I mean? Like that's
Right.
a whole nother step because you can accept what you did wrong, but if you got the balls to even say you're sorry after it, that makes you even better of a person. You're just gonna build on that, bro. It is super, super duper hard, Stacy. Super hard. So like it's one of the hardest things that I had to learn over the last few years. And I promise you, having somebody in your corner like Christine, having somebody in your corner to help you out with that is phenomenal. You know what I mean? So being open and and having an open ear and having open arms and loving one another and loving yourself. It's all important into the dream, bro. It starts with us. You, you, wait, you over there. It starts
Yeah.
with me. It starts with our viewers. It starts with Breathe America. It starts with everybody has to start from the beginning right here. You got to look at yourself and say, what have I done wrong? Can I come to terms with it? Can I move past it? And then you got to give yourself the positive affirmation after that. What can I do better? What have I done that's great? What can I build on? Those are all things that you got to do. So, I mean, I'm getting into the weeds, John. Stop me, because I'm going to keep going.
Tennille Hutchinson Gordon writes, self-reflection is hard to face, but we all need to be accountable, and saying you're sorry is tough, but it brings you peace. I totally agree. I think in my older age, I'm more quicker to say sorry than I've ever been. I'm more quicker to jump to try to make peace than I ever have been. You know, the funny thing is, this is where a lot of that came from, because even though I am quicker to make peace than I ever have been, I still have a lot of problems as far as struggling with my frustrations and struggling with my emotions in those situations. And even when I make peace, you know, there's times where I don't feel the peace of making peace, if that makes sense.
I'm following right with you, bro, because sometimes you really just believe in what you believe in, and even though you need to make peace to move forward, you still don't want to. You know what I mean? That takes a lot, man. It's a hard path to walk down, bro. Hard.
Well, I mean, you know, I've talked to a couple people about it, and I've talked to, of course, you know, Mr. Wickard about it, and he's a really good resource for that. And what it comes down to is just, you know, if you don't at least pursue peace, you'll never get any peace. And that can be inner peace, that can be outer peace, or whatever else. But pursuing peace with somebody that you don't want to pursue peace with still pursues peace. And you still get the reward of peace.
You do.
So that's one of the things that I have to remind myself constantly, because, you know, conflict, it's not fun. No, I don't like conflict.
It's time consuming. There's
yeah, absolutely. And there's a lot of people out there that say there's value in conflict, right? Because conflict can change all these things. You know, we need conflict to do these things. There's no value in conflict. There's value in resolution of conflict, because that is where we actually get the gain. That's actually where we make the progress. That's where we change things out, is in the resolution of that conflict. We're running up on almost an hour now. I had a really quick video I wanted us to check out. This is actually somebody who is basically an expert on like social relations in America right now. And they have some like commentary that they did. So we're gonna watch that. Then we're gonna pop back in here. We'll wrap this up, and then we'll say our goodbyes for the night. So let's go ahead and pop up this video real quick.
All right.
The paradigm of absolute control. And that's why we're just out here doing simple things, pointing out that we're meant to be in nature and be natural. And this is where we find the source that God made to transcend the New World Order. And that's why they want to try to keep us out of it.
I'm angry. I've had enough of these people. They're a bunch of Christian murderers, scum. They're on giant death factories, keeping babies alive, selling their body parts. What more do you need to know about these people? I go out and face these scum.
These scum.
Literally crawl out from under rocks.
Literally.
Green looking skin, and they run around screaming, we love Satan, we want to eat babies. I have them on video. Hillary's in the creepy, weird, sick stuff, man. She sleeps in the same room with that creepy, weird woman whose mother wears a hood over her head. That woman number one is ugly. Imagine how bad she smells, man. I'm told her and Obama just stink. Obama and Hillary both smell like
like
sulfur.
sulfur.
Literal vampire pot and the goblins are hobbling round coming after us. My spirit gets close to that evil and I feel it go. We're such self-centered crap, we don't even notice, and it's self-rising up against us. Millions of pointed people of the very worst type, and I'm so pissed. We're gonna stab your daughter at the mall. We're gonna stab your wife, your son. Ooh. We're gonna stab you with a butcher knife, and then the police chief is gonna say, we love our Somalis, we love our Muslims. Oh, they're so good. Oh, they're so sweet.
I was watching Fox News as I worked out this morning.
I don't believe you, Mr. Jones, that you were working out that morning.
No,
I
no,
call BS
it was
on
not
that.
working out at all. John, you sold that, bro. You sold that. And now everybody knows about the Green Goblins.
Oh my God. Can we stop for a minute and just say Alex Jones is bad shit crazy?
Crazy. We're going to stab your daughter at the mall.
I have them on video.
That was one of the whoever was watching, that was one of the shows, that was one of the highlights of the week. That song has been stuck in our head for the last 7 days, to the point where we're like, hey, anybody want to watch the Alex
moment?
Jones video?
It's Mike Wilkinson's fault, by the way. Let's take a moment and say it is Mike Wilkinson's fault. We were just watching Alex Jones rant about turning the frogs gay.
Yeah,
and he was the one that was like, have you seriously never watched this song? Click on it. And that just ruined my life. My life has been ruined.
It's a great song. Look, I could be standing there washing dishes.
This is the guy right here.
Yeah, that dude did it. I could be standing washing dishes and go, and then my daughter goes, we're gonna stand up.
I gotta be fair. This is completely my fault. And it has completely destroyed his life.
Oh my God.
50 times a day, he just spouts out one of the lyrics, turns around to me and goes,
It's you, Mike.
No, seriously, it's not just him. John hates it, but I love it. When that song pops up in my head, I'm all smiles, man, because it is absolute ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous.
We love our Somalis. It has great rhythm. It has great rhythm too.
It's honestly, I'm surprised that song did not go triple platinum.
That song is good. It's
fire. It's got heat, man. It's catchy.
Saying.
It's got jokes all over it. But I think on that note, next week's show we're planning to take a little bit of a break from Hot Topic. So we're going to do something a little bit different. We're going to talk about something positive, something great, and we're going to reflect on that. And we're going to have nothing but good vibes. We're going to bring in our good friend Tammy Rue to give out some good energy. As much as she's going to hate me for it right now, she has to have a camera. Tammy. That's right. Oh, Patrick. Put that up. Put that. Patrick,
Just so you guys know, this may be the last episode of the Reflection on Brave America.
Oh
Love you,
man.
Big Papa.
Way to
We
make it
love
light
you.
though, John. Way to make it light, because that was something really good to laugh at, man. That dude, Alex Jones, bro, he's something else. I am proud of what I created. Yes, I am, babe.
Oh,
Definitely.
okay.
Mhm.
All right, so obviously you didn't consult with Tammy Rue before this.
Nah, I didn't.
Okay,
I'm
well
sorry,
then,
Tammy.
to the rest of the Reflection crowd, that is purely based on speculation and hearsay until Tammy Rue gives her consent.
Apparently, I'm fired.
Consent matters. Pete. Consent matters. So anyways, all right. Well, we love you guys. If you're watching this, make sure that you like and follow Breathe America. That's
Yes.
Breathe-America. You'll find it on Facebook. Also make sure that you go to their YouTube channel. I believe it's what is the URL?
BA-network.
The URL, the nickname URL for it is BA-network. So just go into youtube.com/BA-network. You can go on there. Make sure you subscribe and hit that bell. And then, of course, we have the Reflection page, which we're broadcasting to here on YouTube. And then you can check us out on Facebook. We're not very active on the Facebook page just because most of our time is spent on Breathe America, which that is the page. Like if you say something on...
We'll get there on Facebook.
Sure.
At some point, we'll get there.
Sure. Yeah, Beats will probably get there. I'll probably be too busy.
Yep.
Anyways, and we would be honored if you like and subscribe to our Facebook and also our YouTube. Also, make sure that you tune in tomorrow on the Breathe America Network for Live with Breathe America. Patrick is going to be doing a very special show about some of the things that have been going on current event wise. We're going to talk a little bit of politics. We're talking a little bit of local news. We're going to talk a little bit of peace, love, and understanding.
That was peace, love, and hair grease.
I call it hippie love bullshit, but I'm not allowed to do that apparently. That taints the feel goodness of the morning thoughts. If I just come in there and I just like
a wrecking ball,
hippie stuff.
As long as you have your Breathe America cup, it's fine. Don't worry about it.
I don't need to be on camera before noon. That's all I got to say. All right. Thank you for joining us tonight. We absolutely love you. Please tune in next Wednesday at 7 p.m. when we reflect on some other things. And they're going to be a little bit more upbeat.
Do not forget to like, subscribe, Breathe America first in the YouTube. Then go to our page, like, subscribe, YouTube, Facebook, all that. We're going to have some overlays soon. And we're going to be better, a little bit better today than we were yesterday. Is that what it's supposed to say?
Why don't you guys try to be a little bit better tomorrow than you were today?
That. And there's an outtake reel we're going to have. It's going to be hilarious. Oh. Anyhow, good night, guys.
Hilarious is debatable. All right. We love you. We're going to hop off here. Good night, guys.
Good night.